First, there is something on Swiss airspace to tell you. You'll be astounded. Maybe go somewhere higher up, from there you see it better, yeah? Come here. You see here a relief of Switzerland, and built up over it the national airspace. It reaches from ground level to a height of 16,000 meters altitude. Switzerland is, due to its central placing in Europe, a major traffic hub at the moment. Correspondingly high is also the flight density. For civil traffic during peacetime, there are 3 great air corridor channels. That means roughly the north-south, the east-west, and the northeast-southwest routes. Yearly in Switzerland, starts and landings not accounted for, around 1.2 million aircraft fly over. That is many. That is very many. The rest of the controlled airspace is primarily used for Air Force purposes. Sports aircraft, balloonists, glider pilots, etc. can use this space usually without restriction, provided the military are not on training exercise perhaps, or at short notice a prohibited zone is declared. Good. Keyword control. You can surely imagine that also in the air a controlling authority monitors so the traffic is controlled and guided. In Switzerland, this is the flight security service Skyguide. One half of the personnel is responsible for the civilian air corridors and airport security. The other, that's the military part of Skyguide, controls the remaining rest of the airspace, including the vicinity of the military air bases. You see, that's a relatively huge region. So far, so good. You might even question why I need to tell you this. Now, that kind of dense traffic net calls for high security measures. Add to this a type of air police who ensure that the traffic rules are kept and the airspace monitored. Yeah, compare it really with the police system on the street. That is the job of the Air Force, who takes on this task as well as other really important assignments. Relevant now in this situation is next to point out the assignment spectrum of the Air Force. First off, the Air Force has 3 core assignments: to protect the airspace, the air transport structure, and the procuring of intelligence. Now we'll go through one at a time. First, to protect the airspace. With protection of airspace, the aim initially is to maintain air sovereignty. By that, Switzerland must day and night have its own airspace under control here. With no immediate threat, this involves simply the monitoring of flight traffic, or it implies air police duty, right up to defense operations. The airspace defense from the ground and the air is necessary. The fighter jets take over defense from the air. The anti-aircraft supports from the ground below. Firstly, on defense from the air. For the fighter jets of the Swiss Air Force, its air policing duty is routine. Per year, there are around 380 overflights verified. Say it's, for instance, an airliner crossing with an unrecognized flight plan, its identity not clear, or having to control a state aircraft with diplomatic overflight permission, an overflight license for a quite specific job. The jets undertake then a visual inspection of the aircraft type. In a serious case, then the air policing becomes an air defense assignment as well. When an aircraft outwardly becomes a threat, aims for a critical object down below, or even firing commences, then the aggressor in an extreme case can be shot down. Naturally only then when all friendly means have been exhausted. Here you see, as an exercise, a defense operation with 2 Hornets FA-18s of the Swiss Air Force against 2 MiG-29s of the German Air Force. The task of airspace defense is also, in the air-to-air domain, really dynamic. A further important factor to protect the airspace comes from the ground support air defenses, known informally as anti-aircraft defense. Next to purely defense operations, they are used specially for airspace surveillance and protection assignments, and as an example for a conference or an object defense. I'll illustrate with a short demonstration. Yeah, taking, say, for example, the WEF, the World Economic Forum in Davos. an international grand conference embedded in the Swiss mountains. The security measures are high, very, very high. Okay, here's Davos. The military and civilian long-distance radars register together with the aircraft radars of the patrolling fighter jets, all flight movements in the higher altitudes. In addition to this, with much less far-reaching radars, the somewhat narrower valleys are monitored. Now you see that the narrow valley floors round about Davos are still not covered. This is accomplished by ground-based air defense with mobile radar systems that monitor the last mile. The entire prohibited zone is therefore controllable. Should in reality aggressors eventuate, it will be the combat jet formation together with the ground support air defense who protect. It's clear. In unity lies our strength. This scenario is exactly in our modern times of terrorism highly appropriate. Think, for example, of protection from air attacks on nuclear plants. Now to air transport systems, the second core assignment of the Swiss Air Force. The air transport fleet of the Air Force fulfills various assignments. I want to bring a few of these to your notice. One main assignment is assisting with catastrophes, here or in other lands. This includes, for example, transports of aid material and rescue forces, or evacuation flights and medical transports, so-called medivacs. With the tsunami catastrophe on the island of Sumatra, 3 Air Force Super Pumas flew 430 humanitarian operations. Also in Switzerland, very acute, is the fighting of forest fires. Here you see the catastrophic forest fires in Ticino in 1997. Super Puma helicopters carrying up to 2,500 liters of water per journey helped the regional firefighters. The operation was a great success. It's good. A further subject, the search and rescue services. This includes, among others, the vital help in the search for missing persons in impassable terrain. For instance, in the mountains. The Air Force holds round the clock, during the entire year, a Super Puma helicopter on picket and with an infrared camera as its equipment. Here you see the night rescue of a missing cross-country skier in close collaboration with the REGO, the Air Rescue Service. This occurs many times per year. By the way, the support from authorities, police, and the Border Guard Corps has seen in recent years stark increases. This includes, besides search and rescue missions, also reconnaissance flights and aerial support for police operations. One further very important task is the troop and passenger transports, whether they're flights to transport soldiers or rather individual persons and VIP transports. The military transports are either by helicopter or the propeller aircraft Pilatus Porter PC-6. A special assignment in relation to this are the airdropping missions there. These include, as an example, the placing of para-reconnaissance scouts in an operational area with the PC-6 or with the Super Puma helicopter. Civilian personnel transports, as for example the flight of a parliamentarian to a conference, take place usually with a helicopter or even with the jet transport aircraft of the Air Transport Service of the government, a part of the Air Force. So, now we'll come to the third and last core assignment. Yeah, will you please follow me now? As I said, it centers on the procuring of intelligence, respectively of information. Now, so long as the reconnaissance region is terrestrially inaccessible, that's here red all enclosed, then the Air Force has a valuable part to realize. For one, there are the Swiss drones. They are unmanned aircraft that circle 2,000 meters above a certain area, and with their black and white and infrared cameras in real time, transmit to the ground station images, day and night. These drones can in peacetime also be deployed for Border Guard Corps and any police surveillance missions. The drones allow a relative risk-free observation from the air. When, however, an object or a traffic route over a longer time needs to be watched, then along with the drones, the parascouts leap into action. This special unit, with patrols of 4 to 6 men normally, infiltrates by parachute or by Super Puma helicopters behind the enemy lines. There they remain camouflaged and absolute alone, self-sufficient over long periods in operation areas, and transmit observation results to Operation Control. Right round the clock, in every weather. The marches are long, the rucksack is heavy, the conditions often dangerous. That's why the training to be a parascout is one of the hardest in the Army of all. As with the drone systems, also the parascouts act as subsidiaries. That's to say, in peacetime, deployment can occur. And this means scouts working, for example, in difficult environmental conditions, in unfavorable terrain, in position as an intelligent camera, assist the Border Guard Corps or the police, providing valuable assistance. On the theme reconnaissance, we have in the Mediatek a short film ready for you. Good. You now have an overview of the concept and tasking spectrum of the Air Force generally. So that the Air Force is able to carry out assignments, it requires a complicated training structure and logistic on the ground. In this regard, a few words on the organization. 3 teaching units look after the training of the military new recruits. The teaching unit aircraft is for the complete training of pilots and the air-based ground personnel, the parachute scouts, as well as the crew for the reconnaissance drones fully in charge. The teaching unit anti-aircraft concerns itself with the training of the 3 anti-defense systems. The teaching unit command support is responsible for operations and the training of all soldiers in the field of command support systems and resources. To this is added lastly the Aeromedical Center, in short AMC, which does the necessary medical checks on the flight personnel directly. Great. The Commander Air Force has, alongside the control of the training groups, also the entire task Air Force, of course. This coordinates and carries all operations out. It controls as well as logistics staff over 6 air-based commandos, or air bases, so-called. These make up independent, competent centers and conduct missions too. That is, they are a tactical operative element inside the Air Force. Compare this, if you like, with an aircraft carrier. An air base functions not at all without the assistance of civilian partners. These are from running the personnel restaurant to building administration and to maintenance support, fully integrated and completely involved. Yeah, there it is. The Air Force has a broad and special assignment spectrum to accomplish, on the ground and just as much in the air.